Hey everybody, it is Scott here from the Gear Rules channel, and today we have an awesome video in store for you guys. We are reviewing the KeyBar, which is a key organizer. I have mine right here with you. Their slogan is "Stop the Jingle" because all you have is your keys in one consolidated space, as well as some pretty cool multi-tools that we'll talk about here in a little bit. Now, KeyBar is a cool company. They are based out of Georgia, and they are a 100% American-made company, which is awesome. You love to support those types of companies. I'd like to thank them for sending me one of these products, and if at any point in this review you want to check it out, I left a link down below, as well as a tutorial on how to set up your KeyBar. Now, we're going to quickly walk through me setting up the KeyBar, but there's lots of ways to do it, and we might want to leave it to the professionals. And if you want to skip that and go to the pros and cons, I'll leave a library down below just so you can click on pros and cons and skip me putting mine together. Now, the first thing we're going to do is that assembly process, as well as some tips and tricks that I've learned when doing that. And then we're going to talk about the pros and cons of the KeyBar. There's a lot to like, and a few of my complaints that I think that they could maybe improve on. We're going to get into all of that here today. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, smash that subscribe button. I'd love to have you guys stick around. We have lots of cool EDC content already out and a lot more coming out. So let's go ahead and get into the KeyBar review. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is just do an overview of everything you're going to get, and it comes in this nice little tin, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but just shows you that it's made in the USA, actually in Savannah, Georgia. I've taken everything out, but there is this nice little business card that kind of shows you a step-by-step setup tutorial. It also has a QR code that you can scan. I'll be sure to leave a link down in the description below. I'll also be leaving a link on the timestamps for this video, as well as where you can go to actually buy the KeyBar. So let's talk a little bit about what you're going to get when you make your purchase. The first thing you're going to get is the outer shell here, which in this case is titanium. They do have some aluminum options. You'll get those spacers there, as well as a pocket clip. Now, there's a different range of pocket clips. This one is a deep carry pocket clip, which I believe costs a little bit more. You're also going to get those bolts there, which we'll talk about in just a second. Now, the spacers are there for if you have different sides, have different thicknesses. You want to make sure that these are parallel, so the spacers are there to kind of even things out. Sometimes you have to use them, sometimes you didn't. I actually didn't use them. Then we'll have 3 different series of bolts, the small, medium, and large, as well as 2 sets of O-rings, 1 spare set. Now, the sizing depends on really what you're going to be putting on your KeyBar. I don't have a lot of keys, so I'm going to use the smaller bolts here, but it really just depends on your setup. Now, these 2 items here are additional add-ons. This is the whatchamacallit tool, as well as a Phillips screwdriver. There's several different add-ons you can add on. There's also this little keychain ring, which you can actually just place inside the KeyBar, and you can put other items on your keychain. I have my car keys and a quick release magnet, which is also made by KeyBar. I love this thing. I get a ton of different compliments on this. I actually just got my tires replaced and got lots of compliments doing that. Everybody loves the magnet. So lots of different add-ons you can do here with the KeyBar. Let's walk through a demonstration on how to set up your KeyBar. I've done this several times, so I'm going to make it look easy. But the first thing you want to do is really set up one side and get one of the bolts going through before you work on the other side. Trust me, I've tried to do both at once, and it is not easy. So we're going to go ahead and just add on our Phillips here. And before you add on, one tip I have is just make sure you kind of have the orientation understood, how it's going to be played out, because like I said, this is a little bit difficult to do, so you want to kind of plan out how the key is going to come out of the KeyBar before you start getting too gung-ho about setting it up. So I'd thread a bolt through here and start working on one side. This Phillips one is nice because it has a little thumb piece that allows you to deploy it, as well as the whatchamacallit tool, which has a file, a couple like flathead screwdrivers, as well as necessary, a bottle opener. What keychain doesn't have a bottle opener? So next we're going to just tighten up this bolt, not too tight, but just enough so that it's secure and we can start working on the other side. We want to have it a little bit of play in there because you'll see here in a second, we're going to be really kind of working the key bar as we do this. Now this key is going to go on first, and then I added this extra key loop here once I get the bolt in. Now this extra key loop is perfect for adding a keychain, like I said, to the key bar. And then we'll add one more additional key. And like I said, I don't have a ton of keys. This is really maxing out the smaller bolts. So if you have more than this or plan on using more, that's fine. You just gotta have to use the bigger bolt. Now the deep carry clip is pretty well engineered. You actually have to place it on the inside part of that, so it adds a little bit of thickness on the inside, but it really is a cool design. So this is the hardest part, and one tip I have is really get the other side out of the way so that you can, nothing's interfering with the thickness on the side that you're trying to tighten. This is the painful part, and sometimes you mess up and you kind of have to start over if you do lose this, but luckily I'm a seasoned veteran by this time and making it look easy. So the last thing you're going to want to do is just do a quick shake test to make sure that your keys are in there appropriately, and you might want to loosen it or tighten it depending on if they come out. Okay, so we've covered the assembly process as well as what you're going to get with your key bar. Now let's dive into my pros and cons, because that's probably what you came here for. You're trying to figure out, should I buy this thing or not? Well, starting with the pros, the first one might not go noticed, and some people might not care, but I really like the packaging of the key bar. It all comes in this tiny little tin box, which makes it environmentally friendly because you can reuse this box for other items. Who doesn't need a little tin box? And if you're going the environmentally friendly route, all this is made in America, so if you live in the United States, it's all a one-stop shop, stays here in America. Super awesome. The next pro is the customizability of the key bar. So I have what some might consider the boring stone wash titanium. It's great. But if you want something with like a flag on it or a different color scheme, they have that option for you. So you can really play with it and have it match the rest of your everyday carry items, which I think is super beneficial. The other pro is there's a lot of accessories that you can add on. One of my most complimented everyday carry items is the magnet. It's just super useful, and you can add that on to your purchase, as well as a little keychain loop, a deep pocket carry, a couple other, I think one of these whatchamacallit, as well as a screwdriver. Just some things that you wouldn't have on your standard keychain if you just had a bunch of keys on a key ring. So that's super nice. The other pro that I have is the sizing options. So I, only carry 2 keys, one for my house and mailbox, but some people have a bunch of different keys for different buildings and uses. So this is the smallest set of screws. I showed you guys that already, but they have much larger sets, and they have those little washers that you can use as spacers to make sure that these are parallel, which, trust me, you want these to be parallel. Now the other pro, and this kind of goes with the purpose of the key bar, but it really consolidates your keys into a nice, not very bulky item here, and especially with the deep carry pocket, you can just slide it into your pocket and you don't even really know you have your keys in your pocket. Whereas before, when I didn't have a key organizer, I would have just this ball of keys. So it keeps it nice and slim and organized. Alright, so let's talk about the cons for the key bar. The first one is maybe not important to some people because it's kind of a one and done con, and that is the assembly process is a little bit tricky. Now the assembly that I did earlier in this video, that was after lots of practice. I assure you the first time it didn't quite go as well. You got to make sure everything is going to be spaced out right. I didn't really have luck assembling this the first time. So I suggest when you do assemble it the first time, maybe have a beer next to you or just be nice and relaxed and expect it to take some time. But once you have it all set up, you shouldn't have to do it that often because theoretically you're not going to have a bunch of keys changing in and out. The next con that I had was the bolt size of the KeyBar. Now I do have a few items that I was hoping to carry. I like the Yubico key here and a safe key, and when I use the bolts, they just don't fit through the holes here. Now I could machine the keys a little bit and make them a little more easy to work with, but the Yubico key is an electronic, and I was able to eventually get it on, but I actually had to thread inside the hole, and it's just something I didn't wish that I had to do. So a little bit of a complaint there. If you're just using regular house keys or the metal keys, you shouldn't have a problem. Now my last complaint is the tightness. So there are O-rings, it does hold the tightness pretty well, but every now and then I had it so the keys would become loose inside of here, and I'd have to tighten it up a little bit. I'm just kind of nitpicking here, but I wish that didn't have to happen. So that's about it for my cons list. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really like using the KeyBar. I like the optionality of it. Being able to put it in a pocket with a clip like a pocket knife was super nice. Alright, so that is it for the KeyBar review. Like I said earlier, if you enjoyed it, please hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you guys stick around. We got a lot of cool stuff coming out. With that being said, I hope you guys have a great day or evening. Take care of yourselves out there. We will catch you on the next one.